Hi, my name is Riley Allen. This is my review of Season 2, Episode 1 of The Walking Dead titled What Lies Ahead. So, this episode takes place, I think it's stated a couple days after the season finale of Season 1. We see Rick talking into the walkie-talkie to contact Morgan, basically telling him that the CDC was a bust, that they're now going toward Fort Benning, which is where Shane originally wanted to go in Season 1, but Rick convinced everyone that the CDC would be a good option. So, they end up ditching, I believe they ditched some of the vehicles, and they all kind of group up into several vehicles, save gas, to save gas. So we get some story building, or I guess some lore, like Lori, Rick, and Carl went to the Grand Canyon when he was a baby, but he got so sick that they had to turn back. Then they get to a pileup. Gets even worse because the hose for the RV shits out, so they gotta replace that. And Dale's like, how am I ever gonna fix this? Looks at the graveyard of all the cars and be like, never mind. Forget I said anything. Then they all decide that they need to start rating the vehicles because that's a smart thing to do. And Lori's like, we shouldn't do this. I don't feel good about this. This is a graveyard. And I'm like, okay, I understand her. I do. But at the same time, needs must. If there's something in there that is useful, the dead can't have use for it, but the living can. So, I do understand Lori's reservations. Like, people are dead there. They died there. But, the world keeps spinning. What I don't like is how Shane finds a truck with a bunch of water jugs and proceeds to open several caps and just, dump them on himself. Like, buddy, you just wasted a shit ton of water right there. It's not as if there's an apocalypse and water is a necessity or anything. So then there's a bonding moment between Shane and Andrea, where he teaches her how to take apart her gun and properly clean it. So she's working on that, taking apart her gun. Then there's a herd that comes in. T-Dog gets injured. He, slices his arm open, This is why T-Dog is my favorite character. He's so considerate to the walkers. He, slices his arm open to give the, walkers a little sampler. A little Costco or Sam's sampler. To see if they like it and, they want to go through with the purchase. They want to eat the guy, but, he's a real considerate feller. So Daryl proceeds to be the absolute best character by taking down a walker that was going after T-Dog, throwing the dead walker's body on T-Dog, and using another dead body to cover himself, to mask their scents, which is just, great. And I like to think that Rick, Glenn, were talking about how they escaped Atlanta, and this is Daryl basically copying that, just on a quick shorthand version. So the herd seemingly, one of the walkers gets into the RV, and Andrea ends up killing it with a screwdriver that Dale shoves through the top to her. And then a walker proceeds to gain the ability to crouch down on the floor and grab at Sophia, which scares her and sends her off running. At this point, I'm convinced that the walkers are as stupid and smart as the writers need them to be. Because what the fuck do you mean he got on his hands and knees and started clawing at her? They can do that? I mean, it's not as if he fell down and then noticed her and started clawing at her. He specifically got down and started clawing at her. So she starts running off into the woods, and Rick chases after her. And then he tells her that he's going to lead him off and that she needs to stay there, but she gets scared off and runs away. Everything that happened to Sophia is Rick's fault. He could have easily shielded her while I feel they did not need to split up. I guess I understand why Rick thought he needed to split up, but he did not need to split up. So, a search is going on. Everybody, including Sophia's mama, starts going out to look for her. Another character beat is Shane starting to distance himself from Lori and Carl. Now, of course, this is basically Lori was the one that told him to stay away, so she's now pissily following her orders. Then we get, a little conversation about what happened at the CDC, when Shane tried to force himself on Lori, and he's just like, oh, that was a little oopsie. I made a mistake. I made a lot of mistakes, but that was just a oopsie. I do feel bad for Carl, though, because, from what we've gathered, Shane and Rick were high school best buddies, even maybe before high school. So, Shane has obviously been, the fun uncle Carl's entire life. You don't know that, his mama and Shane were banging. It's just a regular day for him in the besides the apocalypse. So, he's trying to find these cool... He ended up finding these cool, survival set, hatchet, machete. He was trying to show his loot to Shane, and, Shane was like, yeah, kid, yeah, go away. And, when he was going on the hunt for Sophia, he was allowed to hold a knife, and, he's, showing Shane, look, I get to carry a knife now. And Shane was like, yeah, cool, kid, you go away. So, and Lori gets mad at him for it, and I'm just like, I kind of agree with Shane. You can't have it one way or the other. I mean, I do think Shane is in the wrong, but at the same time, Lori was the one that told him to stay away, so I mean, can't have it both ways. He either stays away or he doesn't stay away. So, and then there's a conversation with T-Dog and Dale, and he's like, so when's that hose gonna be fixed? Oh, I fixed that hose yesterday. I just, don't want to have the needs of the few before the needs of the many conversation just yet. And then T-Dog's like, yeah, that is one tricky hose. We get a conflict between Andrea and Dale, because Andrea, in the last episode, Andrea decided to commit suicide with Jenner and Jackie, because I guess grief-stricken, she didn't want to, after her sister's death, and then Dale, I guess, decided to check out too, in an effort to guilt her into, staying. And I fully understand both sides of the argument. Dale did kind of rob her of the choice by placing himself there and basically putting his life in her hands. But at the same time, I'm of the opinion that suicide is I understand why some people, I guess, could fall to the lows that they choose that option, but it ain't over till it's over. I understand why Andrea would, I guess, want to choose the easy way out, but it's not over till it's over, and so she and Dale get into this big blowout argument, you know, and she's just like, I'm not your daughter, I'm not your wife, I'm not your anything, so, you know, remember that. And then she ends up witnessing a conversation between Lori and Shane, basically confirming their rendezvous they had, and she just has this look of, oh, tea? Spill some more. They end up going to a church, which they clear out and basically have some conversations with God. Then they split back up again, and Carl, Shane, and Rick end up finding a deer. And then Carl goes up to the deer to touch it. Nah, this is the apocalypse and meat is scarce. I'm shooting that deer. If there's a deer that close and it ain't hauling it, I'm shooting it. Even someone who's got bad eyesight like me and would probably miss most shots. Like, they were right in front of that deer. I don't think even I could miss that. So, you know, I'm taking the shot. But, you know, there's someone else was having the same thoughts as me. He saw that deer, shot it, and the bullet traveled through the deer and hit Carl. And that's how the episode ended. So I'm hoping we get more. I'm hoping we get more conversation between Dale and Andrea. I hope this little argument isn't the last big thing we see between them. I can't remember if we do or not, so I really hope we do. And I think that was actually my favorite part of this whole episode, the Andrea and Dale scene, because I could understand where both of them were coming from. And you can't really say if either of them were really right or wrong. Like, maybe, like, Andrea's right. Dale did take her choice out of her hands, but maybe by taking her choice, he gave her a second chance. A chance to further live, maybe, you know, or maybe he made her life worse. Maybe taking the option that Jenna was given was the best course in action. Other parts of the episode that I enjoyed were the church scenes, you know, with Rick, you know, just talking to Jesus and God, you know, that was a little good scene. My least favorite is, honestly, pretty minor. It's the fact that when Shane found the water, he opened it and poured some of it. He poured some of it over himself and just wasted like a whole jug. That's the one minor grievance, you know. I'm just like, but in the end, I don't think that's bad writing. I think that's bad character. Like, that was a bad character motivation choice by the character Shane Walsh, and not a bad writing thing or directing thing. Overall, as a season premiere, it gives you a good hook. Sophia is missing. Carl is shot. The group is seemingly together, but there's so many fracture points. You know, Rick, Lori, and Shane, the kind of love arrow. Because, you know, they're not a true love shot. Then you got the arguments between Dale and Andrea. Overall, I'm going to give this a good 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in the next video.